We are going to continue in page 94b, Daf Tzadik Daled Amud Bet, in Parashat Mishpatim. Yesterday we were talking about the difference between the souls that come from the world of Atzilut and the souls that come from the world of Bria, Yetzirah and Asiyah, depending on the time that the marital relations were done to conceive the child. During the week we'll bring a soul from the worlds of Bria, Yetzirah and Asiyah. During Shabbat we'll bring from the world of Atzilut. And a soul can come down from the other side of holiness, from the Sitra Achra, if it's done in a very not pure way. And needless to say that the more the act is not pure and coming from a very place of unholiness, then the soul will be pulled from Sitra Achra, from the other side of holiness, and needless to say, will affect the child, a human being later on, a parent, an adult, will affect completely the behavior and many other things, especially when it comes to do a rectification for past sins that will cause the individual to have a very difficult time and to deal with very hard things that's coming from impurity. We also mentioned about the soul that came down from Gan Eden, Saba. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai calls it Saba. We don't know yet who it is. We're going to have to wait a little bit. But he was questioning who, what, why. Why is Rabbi Shimon teaching what he's teaching? Why is he saying that the neshama from Atzilut is not going to have the same tikkun? We also mentioned the fact that the neshama from Atzilut can come down and get dressed into a body that the main neshama is from the world of Bria, Yetzirah and Asiyah. And the soul that comes from the world of Atzilut cannot be damaged by the sins that the body will do. It has a certain protection. That's exactly what the soul from Gan Eden Saba was questioning. How can it be such a thing? In general, we were talking about how the soul that comes from the world of Atzilut will be protected and will be placed in a place of unharmed, so the soul cannot be damaged. Just as a side note, because we're actually learning parallel to these classes, we're learning every Tuesday the Gates of Reincarnation of the Arizal, and needless to say that the Ari brings a lot of the sources from this chapter in the Zohar, but the Ari, in his Ruach HaKodesh, also brought down more information, and the Ari HaKadosh explains in chapter 2 and chapter 3 in the Gates of Reincarnation that could be a situation that a nefesh, which is the lowest part of all 5 components of the soul, will reach a rectification. This nefesh will now be called nefesh metukenet, a rectified nefesh, meaning that it climbed 50 levels that it needs to rectify itself. Now this nefesh is fixed completely. Fixed in English is not a right word. In Hebrew it says metukenet, meaning that it reached a rectification. In English, to translate fixed doesn't work well. Rather, I would say maybe a complete or achieved its rectification. Now what happens is the nefesh the soul will reach to a level that it needs to receive the level of ruach. Now it comes back down to the world. But this nefesh should not and could not be harmed because it reached already its tikkun. What now? I'm going to come back into this world, damage everything that I did? The Ari HaKadosh explains that sometimes in a situation like this, the nefesh will be placed into one body. And for example, that nefesh will go into, just for the sake of the example, this is not what the Ari says, I'm developing it where this soul will come to a family of a very observant family. It could be even coming to a child of a very big rabbi. And why? So the child from day one will eat kosher, observe Shabbat, follow the laws of modesty, etc. And the child is so to say protected. So the nefesh is in a very safe place. Now the ruach needs a nefesh to sit on, because the ruach can't function in this world. It needs to park on a nefesh. So that ruach will go and look for a non-Jew to park on the nefesh of a non-Jew. And then that person suddenly will want to convert. Suddenly in the middle of nowhere, you see thousands and thousands of converts from places that you wouldn't even expect, where the person will suddenly get all excited to get converted. and they have to go through their tikkun. I mean, I never saw any convert that they have it like smooth. Usually they go through hell. And but once the person converts, then the ruach parks on the nefesh of the non-Jew. That's why you see that the real converts, they're much more excited and much more strict and much more operating in a much higher level than a born Jew. Why? Because they're already operating in a level of nefesh, of ruach. They're just parked on a nefesh of a non-Jew. The reward that the nefesh of the non-Jew gets, that now it's attached to this ruach forever. And when the person will die, the nefesh from where it's parking, according to my example, let's say in that child, from an observant family, that's why you see that suddenly a child will die in the age of 7 or 8 or 9 or 12, and you don't understand why this child died. I have a friend who's a great, great rabbi, and he had a car accident a few years ago. His 10-year-old boy died. Everybody survived the car accident, 7 people in the car, and the 10-year-old boy died. And when you look at the picture of the boy, you see it like an angel. It was such a special boy. This is a classic example how the nefesh is parked in this little boy, safe. Once the ruach on the other side of the universe is done with the tikkun, the person will die, and whoop, the child will die too, and the nefesh gets back attached to the ruach, and the nefesh of the non-Jew will tag along. So this is one example out of many how the Ari explained how a nefesh or a ruach or neshama will be protected. That you can mess up. You already reached a rectification. The nefesh cannot be, the nefesh, the ruach and the neshama will be protected. This is one example out of many how the Zohar explains that the nefesh, ruach, neshama, but will come from the world of Atzilut, will be protected, that it can't fall into sin again. So this is very briefly what we talked about yesterday and the day before. Now we're going to continue again, page 94b, in the line where it starts, Man gufa divrata de malka. Now he explains and he says, what is the guf? Who is the body that is hosting the soul coming from the world of Atzilut? Man gufa divrata de malka. And he says, Da Metatron. This is referring to the angel that we mentioned a couple times, Metatron, many call it Matat. But nevertheless, this is a shine. I'll explain what it means, a shine, but coming from the camp, from the side of this angel parked in the Olam HaYetzirah, the angel of Metatron. What does it mean, a shine? A shine is not that you light up a flashlight or a light bulb and it shines. Rather that it's projecting on something else. This is in Hebrew, makes much more sense when you say he'ara. In English, enlightenment or shine or projecting, neither one makes much sense. But in Hebrew, the word is he'ara. Now, when something projects on something else, then it will not be exactly the same, but it will project on it, meaning that it will take on the same qualities and will resemble at some point. So when it says that there is a shine, a he'ara, from the world of Yetzirah, coming specifically from the control of the rulership or the leadership of this angel, then it comes down from the world of Yetzirah, projecting into this world. V'hai gufa ihu ama deshchinta, and this body that we're referring to, this is the maid servant to the Shekhinah. Lefi she'arato ba m'olam ha'yetzirah, since that the shine, the projection is coming from the world of Yetzirah, that the world of Yetzirah is functioning as the maid servant of the Shekhinah. The maid servant will be usually somebody who's serving the master. So the world of Yetzirah, so to say, in a metaphorical way, is serving the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah will be referring to the Malchut, specifically coming from the world of Atzilut. And he says, Af al gav de'ihu nishmata. Nevertheless, even though that soul, this body, is not a real body. We're not talking here about a real body, by the way. We're talking about the body that will host the soul of Atzilut. Because if it's the soul coming from the world of Atzilut, can't just be dressed into a body or into a nefesh or a ruach. It has to be hosted into a spiritual body. This is something that we learned in the classes that we learn about from the Sha'arei Kedusha, where he explained in the first gate, if you remember, that there's going to be a neshama, and then there's going to be a spiritual body that, so to say, hosts the neshama in it. So some say this is referring to the nefesh elokit, because the nefesh elokit is the closest possible to something physical, and it's, so to say, is in a shape, there's not really a shape, but in the form of a body. So the teachings of Kabbalah calls it a spiritual body. Why? Because there's a very high level of the soul, specifically from a soul that comes from the world of Atzilut, has to dwell into something more, I can't really say on a soul that is physical, but we call it a spiritual body. Nevertheless, this body that it's talking about, it's not a physical body. Ela hi bevchinat neshama, it resembles the level of neshama, coming from a projection, from a shine, from the angel Matat, that is dwelling in the world of Yetzirah. Im kol ze, even though the ihu barta de malka shvuya taman, this soul coming from the world of Atzilut, that is called the daughter of the king, is, so to say, trapped. I don't know if really to say the word trapped, rather the word in Aramaic is shvuya. Shvuya is like something that is trapped, a prisoner. But nevertheless, it sounds very negative, prisoner. But rather, that it's, so to say, sitting there in some type of the word in Hebrew is nartik. Nartik is like a pouch, but I would say more like a womb. That the soul of Atzilut cannot be dressed in the world below. It's coming from the world of Atzilut. So it has to be dressed in something spiritual that is, so to say, resembles something physical in order to even go down from the world of Atzilut to the world of Yetzirah. I mean, it's skipping a world right now, it's going to the world of Yetzirah, but nevertheless, the world of Yetzirah is, the word in Hebrew, Yetzirah, is not to form something. This is what I always used to get confused in the beginning. The world of Yetzirah in Hebrew, litzor, is to form. But the word Yetzirah comes from the word tzura. This is the world when things start getting a shape. Tzura is a shape. Before that, in the world of Bria, there's no shapes. Bria is the world of creation. It's something is created, but it still doesn't have a shape. In the world of Yetzirah, it's getting a shape. If you want to kind of picture the idea, what does it mean getting a shape? Take now, how do you call it, plastilina? How do you call it, Play-Doh. Take now Play-Doh, and it's like a ball. There's nothing there, it's just a ball. Now take a mold, I mean, my kids have this, and you put it into the mold, shave it, and pull it out of the mold, it gets a shape already. Before that, it was just raw material. Now, after I, so to say, shaped it in a mold, it got a shape. So, even though in the world of Bria doesn't have a material, but the idea, just try to imagine, the world of Bria is just a raw material. In the world of Yetzirah, it's already getting some type of a form and a shape that you can kind of put it into some type of a definition. Take now a soul from the world of Atzilut. The world of Atzilut doesn't even have any form of creation. So how does a soul from the world of Atzilut even come down from the world of Atzilut to any other world? So it has to be, so to say, trapped. Kind of like imagine, and this is again, just an analogy. Sometimes you see in the construction sites, you see these massive cranes that they move hundreds of tons in one shot, these massive pieces of cement or whatever it is. You see this humongous crane. And if you look inside, there's like a little booth, and a little man is sitting in this booth, and it's, like moving these sticks. And this little man is moving a little stick, and a massive, huge crane is moving from side to side, taking some things in the height of 100, 200 feet, and sizes that are unimaginable how something can even lift it up. But this little man is like controlling it. So this is kind of, imagine a soul of the world of Atzilut, doesn't have a shape, it's just to imagine, don't now take it literally. It's like kind of stuck in this booth, but it's kind of controlling it. It has full control over it. But nevertheless, if you would take this analogy, the man that is in the booth will never be able to move anything on this crane, if he had to do it physically. But nevertheless, he's controlling this massive monster of a crane with little movements. Same idea, the soul of Atzilut cannot function in any type of world. So it has to be, so to say, trapped. That's why it says he's shvuya. Shvuya is really a shavui is something that is like a prisoner. Prisoner is more a seal. Shavui, I think in the army they call it prisoner of war, POW, a prisoner of war. So this is really shavui, because a prisoner is that you got a fair trial. It doesn't matter, even if a person is a murderer, but a prisoner gets a fair trial. Shavui, there's no trial here. The guy just gets captured. A captive. So this is the word he's using here, shavui, that, so to say, the neshama from Atzilut doesn't have any any control. It's kind of like trapped into this soul that's coming from the world of Yetzirah. That the soul from the world of Yetzirah is in again, not in a real shape, but a shape of a body. That's why it's called a body. And that's the one that's running the show here. But really, what gets the tikkun would be the soul from the world of Atzilut. The reason it's done in that way, it's the analogy I gave yesterday, that you're sitting in a car, chas v'shalom, the car gets bumped, somebody bumps the car, then the car gets the dent, but not the soul, not the driver. So, and then of course the driver is safe if it's rain or whatever it is. Same thing here. The soul coming from the world of Atzilut is, so to say, trapped into another form of a soul coming from the world of Yetzirah, and it's, so to say, protected in there. And nevertheless, then it says, Begilgula Atya. It's coming there in the same secret of a reincarnation, that the soul of the world of Atzilut will have to be placed into the soul of the world of Yetzirah in the same idea of a reincarnation. Now he continues. Machtiv, what does it say? What does it say about that? Maktiva v'chimkor ish et bito. When a man sells his daughter to be a maidservant, this is referring to Hashem. We learned that yesterday. And the maidservant, his daughter, this is the soul coming from the world of Atzilut. And the the bito, the daughter is the soul from Atzilut, and the maidservant is the soul coming from the world of Yetzirah. Lo tetzeh ketzet ha'avadim. That's what the verse says. She's not going to come out in the regular slaves, meaning, in other words, that the soul coming from the world of Atzilut will not come out of this world with any type of blemish or dirt, because the body did some sins. Now he continues. Ve'od, more. Another explanation for what it says. What does it say? V'chimkor ish, when a man will sell his daughter, da'akut shabrichu. Ish that they're referring to is referring to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Bito, his daughter, Elu Israel. This is referring to the nation of Israel. De'inun misitra devat yechida itkeriu bito. The nation of Israel that's coming from the side that is referred to the only child, it's called his daughter. Meaning that the nation of Israel, coming from the sphere of Malchut, specifically from the world of Atzilut, that it's called there the only daughter. What does it mean, the only daughter? Because this is the daughter of the Sfirot that are called Av ve'em, father and mother, meaning Chochma and Bina. Vehi mekabelet et nishmata mizir anpin. And the nation of Israel is receiving the neshama from where? From the Parzuf in the world of Atzilut that is called Zeir Anpin, the small face. Zeir Anpin. Zeir Anpin is a small face. Nikraim Israel bito shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The nation of Israel is called the daughter of Hashem. Vehi tema deifkun. And if you would say that the souls that will go out of exile at the time of the coming of Mashiach, kegavna deinun misitra de'eved ihu metatron, the nafko bimnusa mimitzrayim. It's referring to that the souls are trapped in exile and they would be released very soon with the coming of Mashiach. Can you imagine how many souls are going to be released very soon when Mashiach is coming? Most of the souls, by the way, are stuck in the klipa. And even though they have a nice beard and a beautiful yarmulke, even the majority of these souls are also stuck in a klipa. And the klipa is controlling them, letting them, so to say, go and work out a little bit, go get me some mitzvot, so I can suck this kedusha, this chayut from you. But the majority of people, observant, non-observant, they're all stuck in the klipa. And the proof to that is you can see people that are super observant. Super, I mean you can't really say super, but observant. They keep Shabbat, they eat kosher, they follow the Torah, they pray 3 times a day, and still sin severe sins in forbidden relations and many other things, and severe problems. I mean, you see it, they left and right, catching, not to badmouth anybody, catching rabbis, molesting kids, and raping, and all sorts of things. This is a soul that is stuck in the klipa. So on the outside, they're doing mitzvot, but the soul is stuck in a klipa. Now we have to understand that the majority of us are stuck in a klipa. That depends how deep it is. So it's almost like going in mud. If you only a little bit like this in the mud, so you can easily go and just your feet are dirty. But sometimes the mud is deep and you go all the way to your knee. To take one leg after the other, it's very hard. The majority of most neshamot are stuck in the klipa. And like I said, the proof to that is you have to look at the behavior of people. And unfortunately, the majority are like that. But very soon Mashiach is going to come and will release all these souls from the klipa. That's what's going to happen when people are like, so to say, are going to wake up. And wow, whoa, what was going on here? I was so stuck in such a klipa that people really live a life that is a life of deception. That's where you see many people, even observant people, they live a life and they're of mamash of deception. And on the external part, like I say, they have black suits and black hats and streimels and payas and all these things. But really the behavior is not a behavior of a person who's really observant. They go and bash other people and lashon hara and slandering and stealing and cheating. And I'm talking about severe things here that sometimes people, they get caught. Not too long ago, they caught a group of people in America cheating the government with millions of dollars, and that's no behavior of an observant individual. I don't care what you say. It's not a behavior of a holy person. You don't go and steal. I don't care which government it is. You don't go and steal millions. I mean, come on. Something's distorted here. Something's off here. And I don't care how many times a day you pray and how much Torah you know. It doesn't matter. The klipa has the control to a point that a person can be, so to say, hypnotized and serve the klipa and do whatever the klipa tells you to do. Yeah, go and pray 3 times a day. Go and learn Torah so I can have something to suck off. But nevertheless, very soon Mashiach is coming and releasing all these souls. The same way that these souls are coming from the side of an eved, of a slave, and this is, so to say, coming from the side of Metatron, from the world of Yetzirah. If you remember, we called these souls eved, a slave. Denafku bimnusa mimitzrayim. This is like the same children, not children, I mean it's called Bnei Israel, the sons of Israel, the nation of Israel. They were slaves, and look how they ran out of Mitzrayim. They ran out of Mitzrayim. They didn't take their time. So these souls of the nation of Israel that are coming from the side of Metatron, who are considered slaves, that they escaped the exile, and it says, Ki az adain lo zachu ela l'neshama m'olam ha'yetzirah. In that level, when they went out of exile, they only had neshama from the world of Yetzirah. And they went out of Egypt in escape. They escaped out, like a person that is running away. As it says, Ki b'chipazon yatzata me'eretz Mitzrayim. You left Egypt in a rush. You didn't even pack your bags. And on this it says, Lo tetzeh ketzet ha'avadim. We're going back to the verse in Parashat Mishpatim about when a person, ki imkor ish et bito, when a man will sell his daughter to become a maidservant. And again, we're not looking at the literal level right now. We're looking at the mystical part, at the hidden part. It's referring to that the man, this is Hashem, selling his daughter. It's referring to the nation of Israel, to a maidservant, because the soul from Atzilut will be dressed now in a soul from the world of Yetzirah. And how is it going to be released? Not like a slave after 6 years. Rather, it will be released at the 7th year. כי בגאולה העתידה לא יצאו ישראל כצאת העבדים. In the final redemption, here he says the future redemption, where of course we're referring to the final redemption. The nation of Israel will not go out like the slaves, לפי שכבר זכו על ידי קיום התורה והמצוות לנשמה שהיא בת יחידה. Because they already performed Torah and mitzvot, and they received that level of a soul, which is coming from the world of Atzilut, that is called the only child. Hada od ichtiv, as it says in the pasuk, ki lo bechepazon tetzeu vebenusa lo telechun. This is a verse from the book of Yeshayahu, chapter 52, and it says, lo bechepazon tetzeu. You're not going to go out rushing. Velo vemenusa lo telechun. You're not going to be running out. Because why? Because Hashem goes in front of you, and He is, so to say, paving the road to take the neshamot out. Basically saying, in other words, the essence of the soul, the Yechida Shebanefesh, comes from the world of Atzilut. But when it's dressed down into the world, I mean, also these souls, they have to reach a rectification. Now we started learning in the Gates of Reincarnation in chapter 7, how even a soul from the world of Atzilut has to come down to do a tikkun. Even those souls, I mean, listen, there were many very great souls that had to come down here to do a tikkun. It doesn't matter necessarily doesn't mean necessarily that they sinned, but they didn't reach to their tikkun. Nevertheless, when a soul from the world of Atzilut has to come down to this world, it has to be dressed into another soul in the idea of a reincarnation, going and dressed inside. It's, so to say, going to be paralyzed in that soul. And that soul, the coming from the world of Yetzirah, any sin that will go, that soul from the world of Yetzirah will, so to say, receive that blemish. Basically saying, in other words, the passenger cannot be damaged. It's the vehicle that has to be damaged. Same thing here. We have two neshamot. One neshama is coming from the world of Atzilut. One neshama is coming from the world of Yetzirah. The soul from the world of Atzilut is dressed inside, and it cannot be harmed or damaged in any type of a way. But just by the fact that it's a prisoner in the other soul, it will reach to its tikkun, to its rectification. Now we continue. Tachazi, come and see. Barnash kadit yalid. What happens when a person is born? Yahavin le nafsha misitra de ve'ira misitra de dachyo. They're giving to that person a nefesh. When you are born, and anybody is born, they're giving to the body a nefesh, because the body has to be functioning in some type of a spiritual engine. So they're giving the soul, the body, a nefesh. Where does the nefesh come from? From the world of Asiyah. Shehu besod behemot torot. This is referring to a secret that later on we're going to learn, and the secret is called pure animals. Why are they called pure animals? Why are they called pure animals? Because they are, so to say, a reflection from the world of Yetzirah. We just said that the nefesh is coming. A nefesh will always come from the world of Asiyah. The nefesh is coming from the world of Asiyah, and it's, so to say, I don't know to say really a reflection, but it's kind of a shadow or a reflection coming from the world of Yetzirah. And in the world of Yetzirah, we find the Chayot HaKodesh, the holy animals. What we say every day when we pray Kriyat Shema. We mention the types of levels of Anim, Chayot HaKodesh, Srafim, so forth. Chayot HaKodesh are placed in the world of Yetzirah. Bechlal, just as a side note that things will be a little bit more clear, I think I mentioned it yesterday or the day before, not remember, then we'll say it again. Nari explains that for 5 levels of the souls that we are familiar with, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechidah, each one will correspond to one world that we know of. And when it means correspond, it means it's going to have its connection from there and it will be manifested from there. So Nefesh, being the lowest, will come from the world of Asiyah. The Ruach will come from the world of Yetzirah. The Neshama will come from the world of Bria. The Chaya will come from the world of Atzilut. And the Yechidah will come from the world that is called Adam Kadmon, Ak. This is how the Ari explains the hierarchy. That's why it says here in the Zohar, when a person is born, Yahavin lenafsha mesitra dev'ira mesitra dedachyu, they're giving to this person the nefesh coming from the world of Asiya. And he explains, mesitra de'ilen di'itkerun ofanei HaKodesh. It's coming from the side of these angels. Every world has a group of angels that are formed in that world. So we know we have Chayot HaKodesh, we have Ofanim, we have Srafim, there's many different levels. Specifically, the angels that are called Ofanei HaKodesh, Ofanim, they're coming from the world of Asiya. Technically, basically saying the lowest level of all angels. We're not going to get to that now, because that's going to cause now a whole different discussion. But there's a big question with many people, is there such a thing as aliens? And the answer is yes, there is aliens. Now, what are these aliens? Where they're coming from? So the aliens are not coming from Mars with little antennas. Rather, aliens are angels. And they're a type of an angel that is called Ofanim. Ofan is something that is like a circle. That's why a bicycle in Hebrew is called Ofanaim. And a motorbike is called Ofanoa. Why? Ofan Noah, a circle that moves. Now when people see aliens in this world, how do they see them? Like flying sorcerers, going in circles, and they're flying across the skies. This is basically saying, seeing angels that are called Ofanim, and they're just flying across the skies, and there's many angels here. Just that they're seen and observed in such a way. But nevertheless, maybe one time we'll learn about that. There are different sources that are talking about these angels, how they appear in this world, and why would be explained as aliens. It's not necessarily little creatures with noses, like pointy noses and antennas coming from Mars. But nevertheless, these angels that are called Ofanei HaKodesh, Ofanim, they're coming from the world of Asiya. So, every time that a soul comes down into this world, it has to be accompanied by angels. They have to be escorted by angels. The nefesh that's coming from the world of Asiya is accompanied with these angels that are called Ofanim. Now, Zachayatir, he will have merit. Yahavin leruach, they're going to give to that person a level of ruach. Misitra dechevan deinun chayot HaKodesh, from the side, of the side of the Chayot HaKodesh that is coming from the world of Yetzirah. Im zachayoter, if they have the level, I mean, like I said before, when the person refines themselves and they elevate themselves to a higher level, then the nefesh is considered a nefesh metukenet. Now they're receiving a ruach. It's almost like when you work in some job. So if you know the employee of the month or whatever, you're a good employee, so they'll give you a raise in your salary, but you'll get a better office and maybe a nicer car or better conditions. And every time you merit, you work hard, they give you a promotion, a raise. Same thing here. You elevate yourself, you refine yourself, you work on yourself, you elevate the nefesh to a high level, they'll give you a level of ruach. And the ruach, where does the ruach come from? From the world of Yetzirah, from the side of Chayot HaKodesh. Shehem sod malachei Yetzirah, hanikraim Chayot HaKodesh. The angels, now again, we have to make a quick analogy, not analogy, an explanation. When you're saying the word angel, it's not like some being with wings and a ring over the head and like, it's not an angel. Angel, this is the misconception when people you say malach, is they're imagining something with wings. Rather, an angel is a messenger of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, a tool that the Kadosh Baruch Hu use so some type of a form of a spiritual being. So if a person receives this level, meaning he has a zchut, a merit, they're giving him a ruach. Ruach comes from the side of Chayot HaKodesh, basically saying coming from the world of Yetzirah, and this is the secret of these angels that are called Chayot HaKodesh. Ki achar shekana nefesh ma'asiyah, since the person acquired a nefesh coming from the world of Asiyah, he is being elevated and coming back to acquire a ruach from the world of Yetzirah. This is called aliyah, elevation, when the person actually gets a higher level. Sometimes you might be able to feel it on yourself that you elevated in your level. And this is not something that's so easy to really to feel, but a person can reach to a point that he's spiritually being elevated and he feels, I'm a different person. Once I used to steal and cheat and lie and do many bad things. Now I despise that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to have to do anything to do with it. This is when the person reaches a higher level, a mamash, an elevation. Now he continues, it says, Yachayatir. He's even has more merit. Zacha means that he won. And you don't just win something, you have to work very hard. Yahavin lenishmata misitra dikursaya. They're giving that person a level that is called neshama. And this neshama is coming from the world of Bria. The world of Bria, he calls it kursaya. Kursaya is a chair. Why? Because the world of Bria is the chair to the Malchut of Atzilut. The Malchut of Atzilut has to sit on something. So the world of Bria is called a chair. Kursaya is more like a big, what? Armchair. Yeah, a kursa, but nevertheless, a big chair. Something comfortable, not like these plastic ones here. So this is of course a very high level that a person is being elevated and he's being given the level of neshama. And Mehmet, to understand what it means, he's being given. You go work now in a company, first you start in the mailroom, and after you prove yourself working a whole year, very hard, very dedicated, never lose a day, never late, honest and so forth, then they call you to the office and they say, listen, you are a very good worker, we're giving you a raise in your salary, your position will be higher, now you'll be in charge of the entire mailroom, and you get this and this and this benefit. And slowly, constantly, the person climbs and climbs. Same idea here. So when a person proves himself, so to say, or works hard and elevates himself and refines himself, I keep saying him, her, same idea. But then the person will receive a higher level. So here we're talking about that the person already, after receiving the level of Ruach, can receive the level that is called Neshama. And of course the Neshama already comes from the world of Bria, and the world of Bria is called the chair to the Malchut of Atzilut. Utlat ilen inun amma eved v'shifcha devarta demalka. These three worlds, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiyah, and the three levels of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, these are the three terms that we just read in the parasha. Amma, Eved, Shifcha. Amma is a maidservant, Eved is a slave, a Shifcha is a woman slave. But all of them, this is just definitions. That's why when you hear in the Torah the word Amma, Shifcha, and Eved, especially when it's talking about in this parasha of Mishpatim being sold as a slave or a maidservant, it's referring that it's a slave or a maidservant or a woman slave to the Malchut of Atzilut. And the Malchut of Atzilut is their master, so to say. Holding. Now we continue. Zachayatir. Now the person even goes even higher than that, gets a higher level. Yahavin le nafsha beorach atzilut misitra devat yechida. If the person even works on himself even more, then they're giving the person a nefesh, but the nefesh that already is coming from the world of Atzilut. This is not a nefesh that's coming from the world of Atzilah, the world of Asiyah. Rather, a nefesh that will come specifically from the world of Atzilut in the sphere that is called Malchut, and this nefesh is called an only child, a bat yechida. Veitkaryat ihu bat melech, and that nefesh is called the daughter of the king. This is a very high nefesh. If I remember, I mentioned a couple times. I think yesterday I mentioned it too. We are familiar with 5 levels of the soul, nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. But each one of these levels is built from another 5 levels that are called the same, nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechida. And then each one of these levels are built from another 5 levels, making in total 125 levels to the neshama. So the lowest can be nefesh, the nefesh, the nefesh. But here we see that a person can reach to a level and he will receive a nefesh from the world of Atzilut. This nefesh is nefesh de yechida. So it's a very high level nefesh. And needless to say, coming from the world of Atzilut, and that nefesh is called the daughter of the king. Now he continues, Zacha Yatir, even more. Zacha means he merit. Yatir more. Yahavin lerucha de Atzilut. If he even grows even higher, they will give to that person a ruach from the world of Atzilut. From where? Misitra de Amuda de Emsaita. Not only that this ruach is coming from the world of Atzilut, it's coming from the pillar that is called the middle pillar. Because in the world of Atzilut there are 3 pillars, spiritually of course, and the middle one is called the Zir Anpin. Pillar, why is it called a pillar? Not because it looks like a pillar. Because the nature of a pillar, the character trait of a pillar, is to connect the ground and the bottom, the ground and the top, and to support the top. That's what a pillar does. Nobody builds pillars in their home, they're just sticking out there like antennas. Rather, when you put a pillar, is only to support the next floor. So in the world of Atzilut, even though we perceive the world of Atzilut as being the highest, but the world of Atzilut is supporting the world above, the world that is called Adam Kadmon, Ak. And needless to say, higher levels than that, we're just not knowledgeable enough about that, because nobody really went into these worlds above the worlds of Atzilut. We know a little bit that there is a world called Adam Kadmon, and of course there's the world of Akudim, the world of Nikudim, but nobody really, when I'm saying nobody, I'm not talking about any of the Mekubalim or sages or teachers of Kabbalah went ever into these teachings of these worlds, but we know that the world of Atzilut is supporting, so to say, worlds above it. So when it says there in the world of Atzilut there are pillars, needless to say there are spiritual pillars, but the Ruach will come from the pillar, from the Amud, the middle one that is called Zeir Anpin. Ve'ikrei ben lekdusha brichu, and that Ruach is called the son of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, of Hashem. Hadaud ichtiv, as it says in the book of Dvarim. I asked you a few times not to make me say Deuteronomy, right? Deuteronomy. So that's why I don't say I say book of Dvarim. Dvarim. No need to go to the Deuteronomy. But nevertheless, that's where my tongue gets all tangled in my teeth. Deuteronomy. So, but in the book of Dvarim, chapter 14, it says, Banim atem Hashem lekochem. You are the sons of Hashem, your God. Yud Kei Vav Kei, not Elokim. But nevertheless, this is referring to a Ruach coming from the world of Atzilut, and this is called the Son of God. Ki hanefesh ve'aruach yotzim miyichud zun, shehem sod Yud Kei Vav Kei Elokechem. Both the nefesh and the Ruach that are coming from the world of Atzilut, where are they formed from? From a unity. A unity means yichud, between the male part and the female part, which is coming from Zeir Anpin. Nevertheless, the yichud here is coming from the Sfirot Chochmah and Bina, Av and Em, mother and a father. When the Chochmah and Bina are united, then it will birth, so to say, a child. This is called the Yichud Zun. Yichud is a unity, Zun is an acronym of Zachar v'Nekeva. It will birth a soul meaning a Ruach or a Nefesh. This is, of course, a nefesh and a ruach coming from a very high place, from the world of Atzilut. And this is the secret of when we find many times in the Torah the term Hashem Elokechem. Yud Kei Vav Kei Elokechem, coming from the shorosh of Elokim. Why does it say that in two terms, Hashem and Elokechem? Just say Elokechem or Hashem. The secret is referring to Hashem Elokechem, is hinting to these 2 levels of the nefesh and the ruach, coming from the world of Atzilut. Now this is not enough. Zacha Yatir, there's even a greater merit. Don't think for one second it's referring to us. We don't go to these levels. But there are many tzaddikim that look at Moshe Rabbeinu, look at Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Ari HaKadosh, and many others, the Baal Shem Tov. They went from one level to another level to another level. Don't think that Moshe Rabbeinu was not born in the same level that where he ended. Same thing with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, not the Ari, not the Baal Shem Tov. They came in a high level, but they climbed from one level to another. Excuse me? Excuse me? Oh, everybody. But nevertheless, so I'm just making this as a side note so nobody will have ideas that maybe we are going now to the world of Atzilut. It's not referring to us. But nevertheless, a neshama will climb and climb and climb. Zacha Yatir will have another merit. Yahavin lenishmata misitra de abba ve'ima. the person will receive a neshama coming from what's called Abba Ve'ema, the Sfirot of Chochma and Bina, from the world of Atzilut. Can you imagine what a neshama that is? What a high level. A neshama from the world of Atzilut. This is the neshama the Yechidah. Im Zacha, if he merits, then they will give him a neshama coming from the side of the sphere of Chochma and Bina that is called Abba Ve'ema, mother and father. Basically saying, in other words, neshama me'ima v'chaya me'abba. The neshama will come from Bina, the nechaya, which is a higher level of the neshama, will come from Abba, from Chochma. Ha'ado dichtiv, as it says in the Torah, in the book of Bereshit, chapter 2, famous verse, Vayipach ba'apiv nishmat chaim. And he blew in his nose a living soul. That the Kadosh Baruch Hu took the soul of Adam HaRishon and blew it into the body. That's exactly the action. Vayipach. He blew it in. A living soul. And this is the soul of Adam HaRishon. Needless to say that we learn from that, that's what the Zohar says, that the neshama of Adam HaRishon is a neshama coming specifically from Bina of the world of Atzilut. This is the level where Adam HaRishon is coming from. Now he asks, Mai Chaim. Who are the ones who are called alive? Chaim. And he says, Ela inun Yudkei Vav. Yudkei. These are the mother and the father. When mother and father in the terms of Kabbalah, it's not talking about a mother and a father, rather the Sfirot of Chochma and Bina. And they're called Yud and Hey. Because in the form of Yud Kei Vav Kei is hinting to the hierarchy in the world of Atzilut. Yud is Chochma, Kei is Bina, Vav is Zeir Anpin, and Kei, the last Hey, is Malchut de Atzilut. So when we're looking at here the Yud and the Hey, these are referring to Chochma and Bina, the mother and the father. Hem Nikreim Chaim. These are the ones that are called alive, life. Why? Because they are the life of the Sfirot. The Sfirot don't have a life. Life means not the life that we're referring to. Life in Hebrew is called Chayut. Is the life force, the energy. Anything that is enlivened in any type of a way is receiving the energy from Chochma and Bina from the world of Atzilut. The Alyahu itmar kol neshama tehalel yudkei. That's when we say that in the book of Tehillim. We read that every day when we pray Shacharit. This is in Tehillim Kuf Nun, the last chapter of Tehillim. Kol neshama tehalel yudkei. We say that twice, and we mention it in different places of the prayer of Shacharit. Basically saying, in other words, that the neshama that is coming from the sphera of Chochma and Bina, that are mother and father, they're praising Yud and then the Hey of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Adam, and this is what it's referring to the man, ve'ishtilim beYud Kei Vav Kei, that the man Adam HaRishon completed the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Why? Because the Chaya and the Neshama came from Yud and Hey, and they were placed into Adam HaRishon, and the Nefesh and the Ruach that were given to Adam HaRishon also from the world of Atzilut, and these are the secret of Vav Kei. So basically saying that the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the name of Hashem, is the force that brought down the Neshama of Adam HaRishon into the world. And that's why it says, Vayipach ba'apiv nishmat chaim. That's what he's asking. What's Chaim? What is that? A name? Chaim. Chaim is life. And the life that we're referring to is not the physical life that we are familiar with, rather the life force. Everything has a life force. Not only human beings, even rocks have a life force. This is what the Arizal says, that even a rock, anything that is inanimate, has in it a nefesh chaya. Chaya, why does it says the word chaya? Chaya is alive or existing, but you take the chet and the yud of chaim, but what causes it to be in existence is the yud and the hey. That's what it says chaya. Yud and the hey is referring to the sfirot of Chochma and Bina. This is the life force. Basically saying that everything in the world has a life force, and this is called chaim. When it says the Kadosh Baruch Hu took Vayipach be'apiv, he took a neshama, blew it in the nose of Adam HaRishon, the neshama coming from Chaim, from Yud and the Hey. This is the secret of Yud Kei Vav Kei, and that's why it says that we find many times that it says Hashem Elokechem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, your God. Okay, the next part is a little bit long, we'll leave it for tomorrow. But just to kind of recap what we just mentioned, take just an analogy, this is just an example to relate with what we're learning. Like I said, a person will work in a certain company and he has the ability of growing in his position. This is the cliche, not the cliche, the sales pitch that they give you when you come to work in a company. They tell you, listen, you're going to get a lousy job, you'll get $8 an hour, and you have to, mop the floors, but this place of growth. You can grow here. It's a big company. Really, I can grow here? Yeah, in 50 years you'll get a raise. So I remember once when I was younger and I would go to different companies, they told me, listen, you're going to start at the bottom, but there's where to grow. Really, there's where to grow. I'm very happy that you're giving me a place to grow. But here is the same way. Kadosh Baruch Hu places you in this world, and He tells you, there's a place of growth. If you will follow the rules, you will refine the neshama and you will receive this growth. Now in the example that I'm giving with a place of job, okay, so you got a raise and a nicer car and a nicer office. But this is just the metaphor here. Here when I refine myself, first I'm working with a very limited tool that is the nefesh. But once I prove myself and I refine myself, then I'm getting an extra engine. Just imagine now a jumbo flying with 4 engines, but let's say just for the sake of the example, only 3 engines are working, only 1 engine is working. What would it affect the plane? That it will go slower. It can't go as high as it would go with 4 engines, and so forth. So every time you refine yourself, you get another engine, another level. Basically saying, in other words, the growth will grow from nefesh to ruach to neshama, then into the world of Atzilut, to nefesh of the world of Atzilut, to ruach in the world of Atzilut, to neshama in the world of Atzilut. And there are individuals, we don't know exactly, we don't have a manual, but there are individuals in our past that probably did grow in those levels and reach to the level of reaching a neshama from the world of Atzilut. That can be Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the Ari Kadosh, the Baal Shem Tov, and many others. And of course, others maybe wouldn't reach to the level of neshama of Atzilut, but a nefesh from Atzilut. Nevertheless, saying in other words, the hierarchy of the growth. More than that, why is he explaining this to us? We'll learn down the line that in essence, we're all a piece of Adam HaRishon. So now he's saying here, in other words, that Adam HaRishon, his chaya, the neshama and the chaya of Adam HaRishon, coming from the world of Atzilut. Specifically from Chochmah and Bina. Now, if Adam HaRishon is coming from that level, and I am a spark of Adam HaRishon, then needless to say that my essence is also coming from that level. Now, it's good that we're learning parallel the Zohar and the gates of reincarnation, because we did literally just started now chapter 7, where he says, in other words, that there are 3 categories of the souls. There are the souls that are called new souls that are not connected to Adam HaRishon. There are addition souls. Where they come from, this is a whole different thing. But there are another 2 groups of souls. One of them are called old souls. That these souls, when Adam HaRishon sinned, he fell down in his level. And the Kabbalistic term is called Neshirat Evarim. Limbs were falling off, like they were, so to say, peeling off. Some of the souls were not strong enough and they fell into the Klippah. Some of the souls were still holding Adam HaRishon, the main soul of Adam HaRishon, and these souls were given from Adam HaRishon to Cain and Hevel. And from Cain and Hevel all the way down to the generations under Cain and Hevel. But there's the other group that fell into the Klippah. This is a whole different group of neshamot. If, hypothetically, I would know from which group am I coming, then I will know what's my root, what's my, so to say, my trunk, not my root, because we're all branches. But nevertheless, later on, like I said, we'll more analyze why he's teaching all this to us. But there's a very good chance that my roots, where I'm, so to say, branched from, is rooted all the way up to Adam HaRishon. Now, in general, I mean, this is might take us months to go through this whole chapter, but in general, we need to know that we're all rooted into Adam HaRishon, one way or another. Depends now how far away in the branches we are connected to Adam HaRishon. Because from Adam HaRishon came 613 souls. And from those 613 souls came out 600,000 souls. And from these 600,000 souls, it started branching out to more branches, to more branches, to more branches of hundreds of thousands of other souls, millions of souls. Now, once I can't do that. I can't connect the line of the branches. But it just to give us an idea that in essence, there is a connection. What's called my Yechidah Shebanefesh is coming from a very high place. So, right now we're just learning, starting to lay some foundation, some information, so we can start slowly building on it, and eventually the point will be, the whole reason why we're learning all this is that I can somehow figure out what is my tikkun. And if I can figure out what's my tikkun, then I can finish it quick, fast and efficient. I don't have to come back here. Needless to say that I don't need to wait for Mashiach to come and to release the neshama. I want to be able to rectify my neshama in this world. I don't want to come back here more times. And even after Mashiach comes, in the beginning there will still be death. People will still die. Now, I don't know how fast these souls are going to come back. Maybe they'll have to wait for Tchiyat HaMetim. The bottom line is, I'm not waiting for anything. And I'm not waiting for nothing, and I'm not taking any chances. Now I'm here. Mashiach still didn't come today. He can still come tonight. But nevertheless, every moment I have to reach to my tikkun. If not, I'm going to be in trouble. If I'm not going to reach to my tikkun, I don't know what's going to wait after that. So the main point why we're learning all this, besides the interesting information, is to know how to reach to a tikkun. So I know, okay, this is what I need to do. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be hard, because I don't know right now where exactly I'm trapped, how deep I'm in the klipa. I don't know which level my nefesh has reached and where the nefesh came from, but I can, at some way or another, track it to be able to start applying my tikkun. And I don't want to waste my time on Facebook and Shmacebook and all this junk, because every moment I'm wasting my time here. Every second in this world is a very valuable second. רבי חנניה בן הקשמיה אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך הרבה להם תורה ומצוות, שנאמר אדוני חפץ למען צדקו, יגדיל תורה ויאדיר.